Once again, a pleasant afternoon to everyone joining us here on Zoom and to all our viewers watching via Facebook. Welcome to the BIR webinar on the 2025 Annual Income Tax Return Filing and Payment for Micro and Small Taxpayers. This event is made possible through the collaborative efforts of the Client Support Service and the Public Information and Education Division to bring you valuable and timely taxpayer education. From the Bureau of Internal Revenue, under the leadership of Commissioner Charlito Martin R. Mendoza, together with Deputy Commissioner Vener S. Bakiran of the Operations Group, Deputy Commissioner Larry M. Barcelo of the Legal Group, Deputy Commissioner Maria Rosario Charo G. Enriquez Coriba of the Information Systems Group, Deputy Commissioner Teresita M. Angeles of the Resource Management Group, and Deputy Commissioner Marisa O. Cabreros of the Strategic Reforms Group. From Assistant Commissioner Josephine S. Bertuccio of the Client Support Service, Head Revenue Executive Assistant Rowena G. Altura of the Client Support Service, BIR officials, and to my fellow reviewers, and of course, to our over 650 participants in this Zoom webinar and over 900 online viewers in our Facebook page. Again, good afternoon. I am Gia Senya Aguilar of the Public Information and Education Division, and I will be your host for this afternoon. This activity is a replay, and you will be able to file this at any RDO, regardless if there will be tax payable or not. For the manner of payment, you can pay for your tax dues over the counter at any AAB, or for any using our online payment channels, also indicated in the RMC. For 1701A, you may file this using our electronically via offline EBIR forms. And then the manner of payment can be used, you can use your the online e-payment channels also indicated in the RMC. For 1701, you may also file this using our EBIR forms, and just the same using our e-payment gateways, or if you are an EFPS user, using your available payment channel in your EFPS account. The RMC is being issued to ensure an efficient and convenient process for the tax-paying public and reiterate the use of available Bureau of Internal Revenue electronic platforms for the filing of annual ITR and the payment of corresponding taxes due thereon for calendar year 2025. Once again, I would like to remind that the deadline of the filing of our annual ATR will be April 15, 2026. Further, RMC number 20-2020 will be answered. So, ulitin ko lang.
Dahil kasama rin naman po dito yung ating mga compensation income earner. So, hayaan nyo pong discuss ko muna sa inyo kung ano ang compensation, withholding tax compensation at kung anong update dito. At pati na rin po kung sino-sino yung mga qualified sa substituted filing. So ating basis po dyan sa mga regulations, sa ating compensation is yung ating Revenue Regulations 2-98 and then followed by 10-2008 and 11-2018. So ano po ba ang compensation or wages na tinatawag? It means all remuneration for services performed by employee for his employer under an employee-employer relations of leave credits, sick leave, fringe benefit received by rank and file employee, hazard pay, taxable 13th month pay in excess of 90,000. At the remuneration received from an equity-based compensation, ito po ay and then at least 10 years in service dun sa company. Amount received by the insured as a return of premium, compensation. And then let's say nalipat ka ng assignment. Let's say Region 4. No? Pagdating sa Region 4, hindi naman binago yung rate mo. Ang rate mo yung Metro Manila pa rin. Pagdating sa Region 4, magiging taxable ka na doon. Ano? Kasi mas malaki yung rate, Metro Manila rate, compared to other regions. And then yung de minimis benefits enumerated under revenue regulations. Ngayon po ito'y meron tayong amendment dito, yung revenue regulations granted to public officers and employees under the GAA, compensation during the year not exceeding 250,000 pesos. And then yung minimum wage earner. Ano po ba yung minimum wage earner o sino sila? It refers to a worker in the private sector who is paid with the statutory minimum wage rates or to an employee in the public sector with compensation. Lima na yan. No? Next. Provided that an employee who receives or earns additional compensation such as commissions, honoraria, doon sa 250,000. Major anniversary celebration not exceeding their benefits and the employee receiving it will be subject to tax. Ito po yung mga steps kung to determine the amount of tax to be withheld. No, kung paano is equal to tax withheld. So within the year, add the amount of taxable regular and supplementary compensation paid to the employee by the previous employer. Kaya po hinihinga natin ng nung 2316 kapag may yung bagong employee number 1700, the employer's annual information return on as the substitute ITR of the employee. So di ba yung mga employer nagpa-file ng 1604C together yung with the alpha list pag doon sa ating mga employee filing. So ito na lang po yung tinatatakan ni BIR. Kasi di ba pag nag-submit tayo ng 2316, scan copy na lang siya. No? So pag nag-submit ka sa BIR, ang dala. Next, individuals receiving purely compensation from a single employer with income tax due has been correctly withheld but to his spouse falls any of the aforementioned items under 1, 2, and 3. Non-resident aliens in trade or business in the Philippines deriving purely compensation income and other non-business, non-professional related income. On industrial classification as per RR 26-2002. Halimbawa, under RR po ang BIR. When to issue on or before January 31 of the succeeding calendar year or on the day of the last payment of compensation of their knowledge. Now, RMC number 29-2021 allows the use yung annexing ng RR 2-2015 where no income taxes were withheld.
And an announcement to those who just joined us that there will not be a live Q&A session for today's webinar. So, ulitin ko po, after po ng lahat ng discussion natin today, wala po tayong live Q&A session.
Ito pong return na to ay hindi available sa EBR forms at hindi rin po siya available sa EFPS. Ito pong return na to ay annual income tax return for individuals classified as micro or small taxpayers. Kaya nga po siya MS, ang ibig pong sabihin ay micro at small. Yung classification po na sinasabi natin dito ay yung pong under Revenue Regulations number 8-2024, which is the implementing rules and regulations of RA number 11976 o yung tinatawag po nating Ease of Paying Taxes or EOPT Act on the classification of taxpayers, which are as follows po. So meron po tayong tinatawag na micro. Ito po yung taxpayer whose gross sales for a taxable year is less than 3 million. Meron po tayong small o yung mga taxpayer whose gross sales for a taxable year is 3 million to less than 20 million. Meron po tayong tinatawag na medium. Ito po yung taxpayer whose gross sales for a taxable year is 20 million. Taxpayers na who opted to avail of the 8% income tax rate. Like then options or optional standard deduction. Ito rin po yung gagamitin. Kita nyo na po to. Then click po natin ang BIR forms. Upon clicking BIR forms, ito po ang makikita nyo. Wala po siya sa list na nakikita nyo dyan sa kanan. So ang gagawin nyo po, click nyo po yung income tax return. Pagka-click nyo po ng income tax return, second page po, andun po yung part 4, yung computation of tax. Namin na madadownload nyo sa BIR website, feed po ito. Ibig pong sabihin, pag tinapat nyo po yung cursor nyo po doon sa spaces, pwede na po kayong mag-type. Ginawa po itong fillable para hindi po masyadong mahirap sa inyo. Yun nga lang po, kailangan nyo mag-compute on the site. Tapos pag na-compute na po, sa kanyo na lang po ipapasok doon sa BIR forms. So, unahin po natin yung initial information na meron pong item 1 to 5. So, sa item 1 po, ang ilalagay nyo po ay yung year na ipa-file nyo. So, kung ngayong April 15 tayo magpa-file, ang ilalagay nyo po dyan ay 12/20/25. Sa item number 2 po, no. Kasi kung original po ito yung pa-file nyo, pero i-yes nyo po yan kung nakapag-file na kayo before and then mag-a-amend kayo. Sa short period return naman po, no po to. Magiging yes lang po ito kung magpa-file kayo ng return na hindi po umabot sa end ng calendar year. Kunyari po, ngayong February, magpa-file na kayo ng short period return. So ang ano lang po nun, ang coverage lang po nun from January to February. So short period return. So doon po sa number 1, ang ilalagay nyo ay 02/2026. Sa number 4 naman po ay civil status. So dito po yung single, married, or legally separated. Yung pong yung balo, sorry, widow and widower, sorry. Diyan po ilalagay nyo. Kung ang ilalagay nyo po dyan ay single or legally separated or widow or widower, hindi nyo na po kailangang i-fill out yung number 5. Pero kung ilalagay nyo po dyan sa number 4 ay married, kailangan nyo pong i-fill out yung number 5. So ang i-fill out nyo po, mag-joint filing po ba kayo? O separate filing? Or married ka nga pero yung spouse mo naman has no income. So yun po. Next is the part 1 or taxpayer filer and spouse information. So, ito po yun. So, kung wala ka pong asawa at single ka or widower or widow or legally separated, so ito pong B, yung column B for the spouse, hindi nyo na po kailangang i-fill out. Pero po, kung nilagay nyo doon ay married, tapos jointly filing po kayo, lalagyan nyo po to. Pero kung married doon at separate filing naman po, so hindi na rin po nyo ito lalagyan. So, simulan po natin. Sa item 6 po, siyempre yung TIN po, ilalagay nyo dito. Yung RDO code kung saan po kayo nakaregister sa item 7. Sa item 8 po, yung taxpayer's name nyo po, kung paano po kayo nakaregister sa BIR. Kunyari po, De La Cruz, Juan Reyes. Then, email address. Yung pong email address na ilalagay nyo rito ay yung po yung valid at active na email address o yung ito po yung nakalagay sa IRIS po natin o sa registration information po natin nung magpa-register po kayo sa BIR. And then sa contact number po, pwede po dito ang landline or cellphone number. Then dito po sa source of income. So, pipiliin niyo po dito kung ano po kayo. Yung po bang income ay galing sa business? O yung income ba ay galing sa profession? O yung income ay mixed income? So, ano po bang ibig sabihin ng mixed income? Pag sinabi pong mixed income, meron ka na pong business at the same time, empleyado ka. Or nagpa-practice ka po ng profession or at the same time, meron kang or employee ka pa. So yun po ang ibig sabihin ng mixed income. Dito po sa part po ng spouse, meron po dito nakalagay na compensation income. So kung yung spouse nyo po ay compensation income earner lang, so ito lang po yung i-click dito. Then sa item 12 po, yung income is subject to ano po ba ang pinili nyo? Yung po bang pinili mo ay graduated income tax rate? O pinili mo yung 8% income tax rate? O yung business mo ba exempt sa income tax? Or subject sa special preferential rate? So pipili din po kayo dito na isa lang. Then ito pong item 13, 14, 15 at 16. I-fill out nyo lang po ito kung ang pinili nyo po sa item 12 ay exempt from income tax or a special preferential rate. Kung hindi naman po ito ang pinili nyo at ang pinili nyo ay graduated at or 8% income tax rate, ito pong item 13, 14, 15 at 16, hindi nyo na po kailangang i-fill out. Pero kung kunyari po, exempt ka, tapos kailangan mo i-fill out. So tatanungin mo ako ano ilalagay. So dito po sa item 13 ay legal basis of tax relief o yung po ito yung mga RA. Kunyari po, yung sa PEZA, yung Special Economic Zone, ang RA po nun yata ay 7916. So ang ilalagay mo nito ay RA number 7916. Tapos dito sa item 14, Investment Promotion Agency, so ang ilalagay po natin dito ay PEZA. Yung Philippine Economic Zone Authority. Then po sa item 15 yung registered activity. So dito po pwedeng nakalagay is ITH or income tax holiday. Then sa item 16 po yung effectivity date of relief or exemption. Ibig po sabihin nito, yung from po kung kailan po na-grant sa inyo yung relief, tax relief. And then yung to kung kailan po siya mag-expire. So yun po ilalagay natin sa item 13, 14, 15, and 16. So dito naman po tayo sa item 17 at saka 18. 17, method of deduction at 18, alphanumeric tax code. I-discuss po natin to sa susunod na slides. So kung ang income na pinili mo sa item 12 ay graduated income tax rate, pwede nyo pong piliin na method of deduction sa item 17 ang itemized deduction or optional standard deduction. Pero kung ang pinili mo po ay 8% income tax rate sa item 12 or sa income subject 2, ang method of deduction po ay none or not applicable. So wala po tayong ilalagay doon sa method of deduction. Pero kung ang pinili mo po ay exempt from income tax, ang method of deduction na dapat nyo lang pong pipiliin ay itemized deduction. At ganoon din po yung special preferential rate. Dapat po itemized deduction lang din po ang pipiliin nyo. So nasagot na natin kung paano i-fill out yung item 17, method of deductions. Doon naman tayo sa item 18 o yung alphanumeric tax code. So tingnan po natin, ano ba ang pinili mong source of income sa item 11? Income from business ba? And then, anong pinili mong income na subject to? Tax rate. So, graduated income tax rates ba? Ang ATC na ilalagay mo ay II 012. Kung ang pinili mo naman na tax rate ay 8% income tax rate, ang ATC na dapat mong ilagay sa item 18 ay II 015. So, balik tayo sa source of income. Kung ang pinili mo naman ay income from profession, tapos ang pinili mong rate ay graduated income tax rate, ang ATC na dapat ilagay mo ay II 014. And then kung 8% income tax rate, dapat ay II 017. So, balik tayo ulit sa source of income. Mixed income ka. Pinili mo graduated income tax rate. So, ang ATC mo dapat ay II 013. Kung 8% naman ang pinili mo, ang ATC mo dapat ay II 016. So sa item 11 uli, ang pinili mo ay income from business, pero ang rate mo ay nilagay mo exempt from income tax. So ang ATC na ilalagay mo ay II 012. Kung special preferential rate ka naman, ang ATC pa rin na gagamitin mo ay II 012. Kung mixed income ka naman, and then ang pinili mo sa tax rate mo, sa business mo, kumbaga exempt from income tax. So ang ATC mo, same pa rin, II 012. At kung special preferential rate ka, II 012 pa rin. So, doon naman tayo sa compensation income. Kanina nabanggit ko na to, pero sa spouse only. Siyempre, ang income niya ay subject to graduated rates kasi ang compensation po, dun lang naman po siya, graduated income tax rates. So, ang pipiliin pong ATC para sa spouse ay II 011 lang po. So, malinaw na po, na-fill out na natin yung items 6 to 18. So, sa part 4 naman po tayo, computation of tax. So, after po nung part 2 na taxpayer filer and spousal information, punta po tayo sa part 4, computation of tax. So, unahin po natin yung tax A, part A, taxable compensation income. Ito po yon. Ito po ay kung mixed income earner ka or meron kang compensation income. Kung wala naman po, hindi po natin to fill out. So, kunyari, mixed income ka. Ito yung pong sa item 1, na amount na ilalagay nyo dito ay ito po ay manggagaling sa item 20 ng BIR Form 2316 na ibinigay sa inyo. Dito naman po sa item 2, ito po nakalagay sa item 21 ng BIR Form 2316 nyo. So, item 1 less item 2, yung isa, item 3. So, yun magiging ang taxable compensation income mo. So, magbigay po tayo ng sample ng computation para po sa tax due ng compensation income. So, kunyari po, sa 2316, ito po ang nakalagay. Yung gross compensation income po ay 977,528. Yung total ng taxable exempt or compensation is 350,656. So, ang taxable compensation income ay 626,872. Ito po para lang po alam natin kung paano mag-compute. Kasi kung ganito lang naman po to, yung pong tax due, makikita nyo na rin po doon sa 2316 nyo kasi may nakalagay po doon na tax withheld. Usually yun na rin po yung tax due. Kunyari lang po, hindi natin alam kung paano mag-compute ng tax due pag sa compensation income. So, titinan po natin yung table. Ang sabi po dito, yung taxable compensation income natin is 626,872. So, sa bracket po ba siya pumapasok? So, doon po siya sa 400 but not over 800,000. So, ang sabi po dito, yung tax on 400,000 is 22,500. At yung in excess daw po sa 400,000 ay 20%. So, 626,872 less 400,000 is equal to 226,872 times 20%. So, ang tax due po dun sa excess ay 45,374.40. So, total po natin yung tax on 400 at saka yung sa over 400. So, ang tax due po natin ay 67,874.40. So, balik po tayo sa part 4. Pero doon naman po tayo sa B, yung taxable business income. Meron pong dalawa dito, di ba? Yung pong B1 para sa graduated income tax rates. Ito po yung item 5 to 18B. So, dito po, papasok lang po natin kung magkano yung sales, kung merong sales return and allowances, and then i-less lang po natin yung 5 sa 6. Lalabas na po yung amount. Then yung cost of sales. Ito po ay pwede nyo lang pong lagyan ng amount kung ang pinili nyo po ay itemized deduction. Kung ang pinili nyo po ay OSD, automatic po dapat hindi nyo po ito lalagyan ng amount kasi ang OSD po nasa item 11 which is 40% po ng item 7. So hindi po pwedeng merong optional standard deduction pinili mo tapos nagkaroon ka pa ng cost of sales. Hindi po kasi yung optional standard deduction ay based po siya doon sa net sales revenue. 40% po siya ng sales revenue and fees. So, kung optional standard deduction po tayo, yung pong amount na nasa kalagay sa item 9, less po yung item 11, yun lang po yung magiging net income natin. Pero kung itemized deduction po tayo, kailangan po ilagyan po yung item 8 na cost of sales service and then lalagyan din po natin ng amount yung items 10A, 10B, 10C, whichever is applicable po. So, lagyan po natin ng ordinary allowable itemized deductions, special allowable itemized deductions, or NOLCO po. Then, yung total po na deductions, add lang po natin yung 10A to 10C. Then, para po makuha yung net income or loss using po yung itemized deduction, so item 9, less item 10D, and then yun na po yung lalabas sa item 12. Then kung meron pa pong other non-operating income, ilagay po natin sa item 13. Kung wala naman po, so okay lang po na zero yan. And then, na po yung magiging taxable business income natin. So, kapag ka may business po kayo at the same time ay may compensation, dapat po yung income po ng business at saka po yung income nung sa compensation, ito total nyo po yun. So, natin dito sa item 15. Pero kung wala naman po kayong compensation at taxable business income ka po, yung pong nakalagay dito ay yun na rin din pong nakalagay sa item 14. So, ang tax rate po, so based din po uli doon sa tax table kung graduated. Pero kung special or preferential rate po, dapat maglalagay po tayo dito sa item 16. Kung 0 po siya, 0%. Kung 5% po, lalagay po natin 5%. And then, magko-compute na po tayo dun sa item 17 kung special preferential and kung sorry. Kung total compensation naman at may business, lagay po natin sa 18A. And then yung tax due po, based din po dun sa tax table. So mag-compute po tayo. Pero kunyari lang po ay taxable income lang po, wala po siyang, business income lang po siya. Kunyari, ang taxable income po niya is 890,500. So yun, ano po niya, ang bracket po niya ay doon naman po siya sa 800 but not over 2 million. So yung pong tax sa 800 ay 102,500. So yun, in excess po dun sa 800,000 which is 99,500. Ang sabi po ay 25% ang rate. So 99,500 times 25%, so 24,875. So yung total tax due po ay 127,375. So kung kunyari naman po exempt from income tax. So ganun pa rin po yung kaninang sample. Ang taxable income po niya is 899,500. I-multiply po natin by 0. So ang tax due po niya ay 0. Then kung special preferential rate naman po, magkaiba po yung basis ng special preferential rate. Ang basis po niya ay gross income. Ibig sabihin gross sales less cost of sales. So dito po, kunyari, ang gross income niya is 2,349,550. Multiply po natin sa 5% kasi usually po yun po yung special preferential rate. So ang tax due po niya is 117,477.50. So punta naman po tayo doon sa B2 o yung 8% income tax rate. So ito po yan. So dito naman po, ang fill out natin yung item 19 to 25. So sample po tayo. Kunyari po, sales revenue fees po niya is 2.5 million. May other non-operating income siya na 350,000. So total income po niya ay 2,850,000. Take note po ha, ito pong sales, dapat po dito ay hindi po siya magmo-more than 3 million. At ito rin pong total income, kailangan po hindi po siya more than 3 million. Kasi kung more than 3 million na po kayo, ibig pong sabihin, hindi po kayo qualified na gamitin nyo o mag-avail ng 8% income tax rate. Dapat po graduated income tax rate na kayo. Kasi sabi po, ang isa pong condition para po ma-avail nyo yung 8%, dapat po ay 3 million below po ang sales po ninyo at other than operating income. So, ito sample po natin, hindi naman po siya umabot ng 3 million. Test po natin yung allowable deduction. Dito naman po natin siya ilalagay. Ngayon, kung mixed income earner ka at meron kang BIR Form 2316, dito naman po second installment kayo. So, yun po yung babayarin sa 27. Then, ito pong penalty naman, ang nagko-compute naman po nito ay sa district. Kung halimbawa late po kayong magbabayad, pupunta po kayo sa district para i-compute po yung surcharge with version date of January 2018. January 2018 ENCS. only to regular income tax rate of 25% or 20%. In Auto EX January 20. So, for 1701 MS ay manual po. So, i-discuss po natin ang pagpa-file ng BAR forms. So, unahin po natin na ang EBAR forms. So, pag EBAR forms filers or users po, dapat ay mag-download po ng offline package na B7.9.5. Ma-download po natin sa BAR website through e-services po. Pag kinilik po natin yung e-services, yan po yung makikita nyo. And then, ito po yung EBAR forms. Click lang po natin itong link na to. Pagka-click po nitong link na to, ito po yung makikita natin. And then, para po ma-download yung EBAR forms, ito po yung i-click natin, yung may nakalagay po na here. Then, pag na-download na po natin, extract and run the package po sa desktop or laptop. Ito po. Click po natin yung next. And then, make sure po na ilalagay po natin siya or i-install po natin siya sa Drive C. At make sure din po na yung pong pangalan o yung folder o file name po ay gawin po nating latest. Kung ang version po niya, since ang latest po ay EBAR Forms B7.9.5, yun po yung ilagay natin. Kasi po, para po hindi po niya ma-override yung mga dati nyo na pong EBAR Forms. Then, install na po natin. And then, click po natin yung finish. Para po ma-open natin ang EBAR Forms, hanapin po natin siya sa Drive C kasi doon natin siya in-install. Hanapin po natin yung folder na EBAR Forms B7.9.5. Pag kinilik po natin yon, may subfolders po or files kayo makikita. Para po ma-open yung EBAR Forms, ang i-click po natin ay yung BAR logo po natin. Pag na-click na po natin yung BAR form logo po, ito na po yung lalabas yung profile page po. So dito po, kailangan po magkaita po tayo ng profile. So kailangan po, lagyan po natin ng information yung TIN, RDO code, yung line of business, taxpayer's name, registered address, zip code, telephone number, at saka po yung email address. Yung email address po na ilalagay natin dito, dapat po ay valid at active na email address. Kasi po, dito po, ipapadala ni EBAR form system yung email confirmation or tax return receipt confirmation na natanggap na ng BIR ang electronically filed returns po ninyo. Then, pag nailagay na po natin yun, piliin na po natin yung return na open natin. So, kung 1702 RTV 2018C ba or 1702 EXB 2018C or 1702 MXB 2018C from the list of the BIR forms. Then, click po natin yung fill up. Okay. Upon clicking the fill up button, pop-up message will appear and you will be asked to re-enter the TIN and email address to confirm that the provided information in the profile page are correct. So, enter lang po natin yung TIN at saka yung email. Then, click po natin yung submit. Kapag tama po yung inilagay niyong information, ang lalabas po ay background information saved, updated successfully. So, i-click lang po natin yung okay. Pag na-click na po yung okay, babalik po tayo rito ulit. So, click po ulit natin yung fill up. And then, lalabas na po ulit yung background information saved, updated successfully. Then, click lang po natin yung okay. Kapag na-click na po natin yan, lalabas na po yung return na pinili natin kung ito po ay 1702 RT or 1702 EX or 1702 MX. So how to fill out the AITR for non-individual taxpayers? Hindi na po natin masyadong i-elaborate itong pag-fill out ng 1702 RT, EX, and MX kasi po matagal na po itong return na to. Yung po sa 1701 MS, talaga po siyang inisa-isa ko kasi bago lang po yung return at wala pa rin po siya sa electronic platforms natin. So ang importante lang po dito sa BAR Form 1702 RT, EX at saka MX, kailangan po accomplish and fill out all the applicable fields in a return. items or fields for tax rate and minimum corporate income tax due ay editable po at saka enterable. And then yung pong fields for the tax relief availment, mandatory fields po yun. Pag hindi nyo po siya nyo lang po yung submit final copy button after validation. Then, after nyo po maklik na taxpayers, hindi na po natin masyadong after accomplishing the return 1702EX or 1702MX. So when clicking the fill up button, pop-up message will appear and you will be asked to re-enter the TIN and email address to confirm that the provided information in the profile page are correct. So enter lang po natin yung TIN at saka yung email. Then click po natin yung submit. Kapag tama po yung inilagay niyong information, ang lalabas po ay background information saved, updated successfully. So, i-click lang po natin yung okay. Pag naklik na po yung okay, babalik po tayo rito ulit. So, click po uli natin yung fill up. And then, lalabas na po uli yung background information saved, updated successfully. Then, click lang po natin yung okay. Kapag naklik na po natin yan, lalabas na po yung return na pinili natin kung ito po ay 1702RT or 1702EX or 1702MX. So how to fill out the AITR for non-individual taxpayers? Hindi na po natin masyadong i-elaborate itong pag-fill out ng 1702RT, EX, and MX kasi po matagal na po itong return na to. Yung po sa 1701MS, talaga po siyang inisa-isa ko kasi bago lang po yung return at wala pa rin po siya sa electronic platforms natin. So ang importante lang po dito sa BIR Form 1702RT, EX at saka MX, kailangan po accomplish and fill out all the applicable fields in a return. Items or fields for tax rate and minimum corporate income tax due ay editable po at saka enterable. And then yung pong fields for the tax relief availment, mandatory fields po yun. Pag hindi nyo po siya nilagyan, hindi po kayo makakapag-validate ng return. After accomplishing the return, click nyo po yung validate button. Kapag meron pa po kayong unfilled item, sasabihin po nung system. So sasabihin po niya kung ano po yung hindi nyo pa nalagyan. Then kung may error po, sasabihin din po niya kung ano yung error. Pero kung completely filled out naman po yung return, ang lalabas po ay validation successful. Click on edit if you wish to modify your entries. Then click nyo lang po yung okay. Kung may gusto po kayong baguhin, click nyo lang po yung edit. Kung kailangan nyo na po or okay na po kayo, na fill out nyo na lahat ng information at tama na po para po ma-submit, click nyo lang po yung submit final copy button after validation. Then, after nyo po maklik yung may mga pop-up messages po na mag-a-appear. Tulad po nitong, please ensure that your internet access and a valid email address is indicated in your tax return. Then, are you sure you want to submit? Click nyo lang po yung okay. And then, upon clicking okay po, ang lalabas po yung EBAR forms TOSA or Terms of Service Agreement. Ito po, you will be asked na i-click nyo po yung agree to confirm that you have read, understood, and agreed to the TOSA. Tapos kung gusto nyo pong mabasa yung TOSA, pwede nyo pong i-click yung here po dito and then makikita nyo na po yung buong TOSA. And then, kung agree na po kayo, click nyo lang po yung okay. Pag na-click nyo na po yung okay, and then nakapag-submit na po kayo, may lalabas po na pop-up message na submit successful. Tapos may nakalagay po doon na a notification will be sent to your email. Tapos nakalagay po yung email address na ginamit nyo. Tapos please ensure that said email address is correct. Then check your inbox, including your spam folder in the next few minutes for the email. Print or save the email as evidence of a e-filed return. Then click nyo lang po yung okay. Then yung kayo then yung taxpayer po, yung EBR forms filers or users will receive a system-generated email confirmation or tax return receipt confirmation that the BIR received the submitted return to the email address provided in the profile page. Then, ito po ang sample po ng TRRC or tax return receipt confirmation. Ayan po. Then, kapag ka nakapag-file na po kayo, magbabayad na po tayo. So, ang pagbayad po ay to any authorized agent bank or through online via the e-pay gateways of the BIR. Hindi pa yung susunod pong speaker ang magdi-discuss po nito in details kasi siya po ang speaker para dito. And then kung EFPS ka naman, filers or users, tapos na po tayo sa EBR forms, ang gagamitin mo ay EFPS in the filing your annual income tax return. So, ang payment po, syempre, sa EFPS AAB where you are enrolled po, where the taxpayer is enrolled. So, next po ay yung sa tax software provider naman or users filers. So, syempre po, ang gagamitin po ay yung service po provided by the TSP. So reminder lang po dun sa mga EBAR forms filers or users. Kailangan po kung 1702 RT para po secure na ang latest version po magagamit nyo. Tandaan nyo po, kailangan po may V28NC. Ganun din po yung 1702EX. Kailangan po may V28NC at 1702MX. May V28NC. Kasi ito po yung pwede nyong kasi po ba 'di ba may rate po tayong nag-iba-iba because of the CREATE law. So ito po 'yun para po ma-compute ng tama per year po kasi parang gano'n. Kung ano po yung rate ng year na 'yon, yun po yung lalabas doon sa EBAR forms or editable and terrible po siya. So that's all po. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Amy, for that highly informative and helpful presentation, especially to our taxpayers. Namin patapos ito.
Makikita niyo naman po yung overview doon po sa mga nagbabalak po na mag-file through EFPS. So, papaano po ba tayo gagamit ng EFPS?
At lahat po ng frequent at relevant of the
Return
is recorded and will be available for playback on our Facebook page. So that's Bureau of Internal Revenue Philippines po. Maaari niyo pong balikan ng webinar na ito doon sa Facebook page na.
ng hapon. So, kanina po as discussed with Ms. Amy, paano po ba tayo magpa-file na ating mga tax returns? So, EFPS, kung kayo po ay mandated or enrolled sa EFPS or sa EBIR forms as discussed a while ago in detail yung sa EBIR forms. And then, to give lang po konting overview doon po sa mga nagbabalak po na mag-file through EFPS. So, papaano po ba tayo gagamit ng EFPS? So, una po, mag-enroll po kayo. Pangalawa, ito kung naka-enroll na kayo, doon na po yung filing of return, submission of return, and then doon na rin po yung payment at yung confirmation po na talaga naka-file na kayo at nakapagbayad na po using the EFPS. So, papaano po ba tayo mag-enroll? Ano lang po to, simple steps lang po para lang po magka-idea kayo kung sakali po you opted to use the EFPS for filing of returns. So, i-access lang po yung BIR website using the aming pong address, yung www.bir.gov.ph using your internet browser. Tapos po yung sa homepage, makikita niyo naman po yung under na e-services, yung EFPS. So, i-click nyo lang po yun. And then, from EFPS login page, i-click nyo po yung enroll, to enroll. And then, yung enroll to EFPS po mag-a-appear. And then, enrollment form, then click on the submit button kung meron na pong mga pop-up message. So, yung pong system will inform you through a pop-up message that your enrollment has been successfully received. Antayin nyo lang po yung email message from the BIR informing you of the status of your enrollment, whether approved or disapproved. Once your account has been activated, yun nga po, ready na po kayong mag-file at magbayad at mag-perform ng functions within the EFPS. So, sa pag-file naman po, let's say naka-enroll na po kayo, so magla-login ulit po kayo sa EFPS account nyo. Once again, pag naka-login na po kayo, yung user menu page po magdi-display po, and then magda-drop down list po yung mga naka-registered na BIR forms po sa inyo. And then click File Tax Return after selecting the tax form from the list, and then click the online button to display the selected form and fill out all the applicable required fields in the tax form, which was already discussed by Ms. Amy. And then click on the validate button, then click the OK button of the confirmation message. Click on the submit button after several pop-up messages. Filing reference number page is displayed with the following information. So let's say naka-file na po kayo, nasubmit nyo na po yung returns ninyo na ipa-file. Ngayon po, maglalabas na po ng filing reference number na ito po yung makikita nyo doon sa filing reference number. The TIN, registered name, RDO number, form type, the filing reference number, amount payable, syempre po yung pong babayaran nyo, accounting type, kung calendar or fiscal year, the return period, so ito po yung ending December 31, 2025, kung calendar year po yung babayaran nyo, kung kailan kayo nag-file, at saka po yung tax type. So, kung magbabayad na po kayo, after nyo pong makita yung FRN, then proceed to payment, i-click nyo lang po yung button na yun. And then, magse-select na po yung EFPS mode of payment. So, ito po yung makikita nyo pag nag-click na kayo sa proceed to payment. So, doon sa portion po na to, sa EFPS mode of payment, lalabas po yung bank transfer, TRA or TDM. Pag sinabi pong bank transfer, naka-enroll na po kayo dun sa bangko kung saan po kayo may account. Yun naman pong TRA dito, usually po ito yung mga national government agencies. Sila po yung gumagamit ng TRA. Kaya kung hindi po kayo o nag-work or hindi po kayo authorized user sa NGA or National Government Agency, hindi po mag-a-appear yung TRA as mode of payment. So kung sakali po, meron po tayo dito mga attendees na meron pong na-issue sa kanila na TDL o tax debit memo. Pwede nyo rin pong gamitin to sa pagbabayad ng ating income tax. So meron pong portion do sa EFPS na pwede nyo pong gamitin or ipambayad. Then submit. Kanina po pinakita na. And then yung confirmation number is issued by the bank. Si bank po ang mag-i-issue ng payment confirmation na successfully debited na po do sa account nyo yung babayaran ninyo. Kung wala po kayong na-receive, i-confirm nyo lang po yun do sa bank ninyo kung saan po kayo naka-enroll. So yun lang po yung simplest steps on how to file and pay using the EFPS. So next naman po, kung makikita nyo sa screen, sino naman po ba yung mga taxpayers mandated to use EFPS? So sa ngayon po, ito po, mga 14 items po. Si taxpayer under TAMP or Taxpayer Account Management Program, accredited importer and prospective importer, national government agencies, kanina po na-mention, government offices insofar as remittance of withheld VAT and business tax is concerned, all licensed local contractors, enterprises enjoying fiscal incentives, taxpayers mandated to use yung pong BIR Electronic Documentary Stamp Tax System namin. So yung meron po diyang mga mandated to use na EDSD. So ang filing po nila is through EFPS. So yung top 5,000 individual and top 20,000 private corporations. Yung pong mga corporations we'll not discuss further po kasi kanina detailed na po itong ipinakita ni Miss Amy. So yun nga po, ang step po is filing of return, submission of return, and the payment. Pero yung payment yun na lang po yung na pwede niyong gamitin yung service ni TSP. Si One Tax, meron po siyang mga ITR. Si Taxumo, meron din po. Yung po isa si Wyvern, mostly po yan mga on-net forms ang ginagamit. And then, si e-tax point po, VAT at saka withholding tax po na form. The portal or online facility nila sa DBP. Under po ni DBP, a settlement bank po, si Maya at saka si MYAG. Ito po yung tinatawag din natin na tax software provider for payment. Kanina po yung dinisas ko, yung mga nakita nyo, for filing po yun. Ito naman po yung TSP for payment is the Maya and MYAG. Pag online po ito. So, next option po, pag nag-file tayo sa EBIR forms, pwede po mag-manual payment sa ating mga authorized agent banks or AABs through any authorized agent banks, AABs. Sabi nga po doon sa ating AOPT law, pwede pong magbayad. Parang type nyo na doon kayo magpa-file at magbabayad. Kung may account po kayo sa any 20 banks, pwede nyo pong i-enroll sa kanila. Let's say na-approve na po yung enrollment nyo sa BIR. Then, kung may account kayo through any 20 banks, pwede nyo din pong i-enroll yung account nyo. Basta sabihin nyo lang po, gagamitin nyo po ito sa pagbabayad ng taxes using the EFPS. So, available po sila. And then, kung halimbawa po, ang napili nyo naman po is manual payment. So, ano naman po ba yung pwede natin TDM? So, pwede pong kombinasyon ng modes of payment. Let's say, meron po kayo bank debt ng cheque para ipang. So, provided lang po na yung pong pangalan ninyo or kung sino man po yung magbabayad na ang ilalagay po doon sa cheque, yung sa likod ng cheque, i-require mga tanong din po ninyo. Ito yung Land Bank Link Biz Portal. So kung gusto nyo rin pong and then kung wala yun is or gamitin yung GCash wallet ninyo, pwede po kayong mag-login sa MYAG to use your GCash wallet. So, konting ano lang po, para lang magka-idea po kayo for those na hindi pa po nakaka-experience magbayad sa ating mga e-payment gateways. So, paano po ba tayo magbabayad? Kung napili niyo po si Linkbiz Portal, kung meron kayong account, doon sa na-mention po kanina, doon sa slides. So, i-visit, pwede naman pong access nyo pa rin po yung BIR website. And then, pupunta lang po kayo doon sa e-services. Select nyo lang po yung e-pay. And then, i-click nyo lang po yung Linkbiz na fill out nyo natin. Meron po silang mga extra. So, later po, i-discuss po yan na ating next na speaker. Ano ko lang po ipakita. Ko po, last year pa po ito na-release, ay actually 2024 pa po. Annex A po ito ng RMO number 87/2024. Kung ito po, kung nandito po sa listahan yung mga attachments po do sa ipa-file na return. So alam niyo na po kung saan isa-submit. So kunyari, audited financial sa EAFS po. Kung ALPA list naman po isa-submit nyo, sa e-submission po yan ilalagay. So pwede niyo pong i-visit po yung ating RMC, sorry po, RMC 87. So number 1 po, hindi po. Kung mandated pa rin po kayo mag-EFPS, EFPS pa rin po ang filing at saka payment. Tapos kung under process pa po yung inyong enrollment sa EFPS, pwede naman po ABIR forms ang gagamitin natin. So pwede niyo naman po i-check yun sa ating RMC. Apology po, RMC po yan. Hindi po RMO. Ito naman po, what are the instances in which the taxpayer who are mandated to file the tax returns electronically will pwede po tayo mag-manual filing. And then, same din po ito sa question number 1. Nearest authorized agent po. So, yun nga po, kung hindi pa enroll sa EFPS, manual din po ang ating.
We are now
po natin today. So una, sino ba ang mga dapat mag-submit ng kanilang attachments to the AITR with the BIR? Sino yung kailangan pumunta sa amin? So kung ikaw ay isang taxpayer who electronically filed, either via EFPS or EBIR forms, without any required attachments, you do not need to submit the printed copy of the e-filed tax returns to the LTS or the RDO where you are registered. This is as provided for in RMC 4-2021. Pag nakapag-e-file ka na at wala kang kahit anong attachment, hindi mo na kailangang pumunta sa BIR. However, especially with Form 1701MS, since it is not available sa EFPS and EBIR forms, therefore you cannot file it electronically, what you will do now is you will file it manually. When we say manually, if you don't have any tax dues, pupunta kayo sa RDO kung saan kayo registered at doon nyo ipapa-receive. Well, actually, with the EOPT, it's any RDO. Since together with the proof of filing, so if the proof of filing is either FRN or the email notification, there is a separate cash flow statement or there's no need to prepare a separate statement of owner's equity since it is already present the BIR along with the following. Kung ikaw ay merong complete set of financial statements, so meron kang balance sheet, income statement, napaghahalataan ng edad, ano na ba yung statement of, sorry, hindi ko na alam. File it with the RDO, yung Form 1701MS, and have it manually stamped. If there is tax due, however, you will proceed to the nearest AAB, na pinakamalapit sa inyo, dun nyo babayaran yung 1701MS with the corresponding tax due. The stamp, the bank validation shall serve as proof of your filing. Conversely, if you are a taxpayer with any, take note, any of the following attachments to your AITR, you are required to submit to the BIR together with the proof of filing. So if the proof of filing is either FRN or the email notification, as well as the proof of payment of any tax due, said attachments. Ano ba yung mga attachments na yun na kailangan mong ipasa? Take note, any. If you have any of the following, you need to submit your proof of filing of your AITR filed electronically, the FRN or the email confirmation, as well as the proof of payment of any tax due thereon. You will submit it to the BIR along with the following. Kung ikaw ay merong complete set of financial statements, so meron kang balance sheet, income statement, napaghahalataan ng edad, ano na ba yung statement of, sorry, hindi ko na alam. Nung last sepale ko po, balance sheet, income statement, statement of owner's equity, cash flow statement, and notes of financial statements. Kung meron kang complete set of financial statements, kailangan mo magpasa ng this is false as an attachment and you need to submit it to the BIR. That being said, even if it's not complete, especially if it's not audited, if all you have are the income statement and balance sheet, and there is no need to prepare a separate cash flow statement, or there's no need to prepare a separate statement of owner's equity, since it is already present in the balance sheet, that would still fall as a complete set of financial statements in your particular case, and you need to submit this to the BIR. Okay, para malinaw tayo ha. Hindi pag sinabing complete set, as in talagang lahat including the notes. What constitutes complete varies depending on the nature of your business. Kung ikaw ay unaudited, di bang usapan kung audited ang iyong financial statements. Now, sino ba ang required magpa-audit ng financial statements? If your gross sales, earnings, receipts, or outputs exceed 3 million pesos for the taxable year, you are required to have your financial statements audited. The assets has nothing to do with having your financial statements audited as far as the BIR is concerned. Iba pong usapan for our taxpayers na corporations kasi iba ang rule ni SEC. Kay SEC, required ang audited financial statements if your assets is more than 3 million. But for BIR, ang sukatan po namin ng kung kailan nire-require ang audited financial statements is if ang gross sales mo, earnings, receipts, or output exceeds 3 million. Now, if your financial statements are audited, these must be presented comparatively, meaning 2025 and 2024. This is as provided for in Revenue Regulation 21-2002. You're also required to attach the Statement of Management Responsibility for your AITR sa iyong financial statements. Now, there is a separate SMR for the audit report. There is a separate SMR for submission to the SEC. Notwithstanding those SMR, those are not requirements of the BIR, although they comprise a complete set of financial statements. They're part and parcel of a complete set of financial statements, but as far as the BIR is concerned, ang titingnan naming SMR is yung para sa AITR. Now, take note that e-signatures are allowed on all documents and returns. This is as provided for in RMC 40-2022. This is made even more so relevant since submission natin ngayon is through the EAFS. So what's the point of having wet signature on your financial statements, the president and the treasurer, if you're going to submit a scanned copy to the BIR anyway? Now, aside from the complete set of financial statements, if you have or if you are required to submit BIR Form 1709, this is the information return on transactions with related parties as provided for in RR 34-2022. Kailangan mong ipasa to together with ito as an attachment sa AITR at kailangan mong ipasa sa BIR. So, sino ba ang required na magpasa ng Form 1709? So, if you are tagged as a large taxpayer, you are a taxpayer enjoying tax incentives, you are a taxpayer who for the last 3 years have been incurring net operating losses, so net loss cap for the current year and 2 preceding years. If you fall under any of these 3, you are required to submit Form 1709. Now, aside from these 3, if you are a related party, as defined in Section 3 of Revenue, and such other attachments that you feel would help, I'd like all of you to take note of this statement. In lieu of the submission of hard copies of Form 2307 as an attachment to the South, so that is hindi na po pwede, gone are the days. So for Form 1702Q, pagpasa ng yung attachments to your AI. 15 days are only available for those who filed electronically, so either EFPS or EBAR forms. So for taxpayers who filed manually, so in the case of our small and micro tax, be submitted electronically using the EAFS or the e-submission facility, whichever is applicable, as shown. The returns are not yet available in EFPS or EBAR. Using the existing regulation, extra copies, the SEC will honor such submission made via the EAFS as valid submissions that you will then use for submitting your financial statements to the SEC. So no, wala na pong tatakang magaganap para sa extra 2 copies. Last year, nireiterate na namin ito. We are reiterating it again since RMC 87-2024 mandates the use of the EAFS for submission of attachments, all attachments. Okay? Wala ng manual. So even for corporations and other juridical entities reporting to the SEC, ang ipapasa po ninyo sa SEC ay yung printout ng email confirmation na matatanggap ninyo sa email address na in-enroll ninyo nung nagpasa kayo sa EAFS. So, EAFS tayo ng EAFS. Ano nga ba si EAFS? The EAFS is the electronic portal for the submission of the financial statements and other attachments to duly filed AITR. Take note that this is only for submission of your attachments. You file your AITR through the EFPS or EBR forms, whichever is applicable, or manually in the case of Form 1701MS. The only ones that you will be submitting to the EAFS are the attachments, the financial statements and other attachments. Now, submissions through the EAFS is just like making it in person. So, sino ba ang pwedeng gumamit ng EAFS? Taxpayers who are required to file their AITR electronically shall submit their attachments to the AITR through the EAFS as provided for in RMC 49/2020. And like I mentioned, the EOPT itself mentioned that all returns basically are to be filed electronically. So when I say here that taxpayers are required to file their AITR electronically shall submit their attachments to the AITR, I'm talking about basically everybody who has attachments to the AITR. Unless, of course, there is an advisory allowing for manual submission outside of the EAFS. Now, the EAFS can be used by taxpayers using the calendar year or fiscal year accounting period for taxpayers who are for non-individual taxpayers, since they are the only ones allowed to use fiscal year accounting period. This can also be used for the submission of quarterly ITR attachments. Like in my example earlier, yung nag-file siya ng quarterly ITR niya, meron siyang tax credit, nag-ESAB nga siya nung kanyang SOUT, pero dapat yung mga 2307 na claim niya as tax credits for their quarterly ITR, dapat pinasa rin niya sa EAFS. Okay? So how do I access the EAFS? To access the EAFS, go to the BEAR website. Under the e-services, click the EAFS. Now, the EAFS can be accessed through any browser of any device. So you can use it sa desktop nyo, laptop, smartphones, tablet, as long as you have a stable internet connection and access to the files to be uploaded. Paano gamitin si EAFS? Well, for first-time users, enrollment is required. So pag clinic mo yung EAFS icon sa BIR website, dadaling ka niya sa EAFS login page. For first-time users nga, hindi ka pa registered, so kailangan mo magpa-register, click Not Registered. You fill out the required information in the account registration page, but some reminders on how to enroll. With regards to the company's TIN, you can only enroll this once. A company's TIN, a taxpayer's TIN, can only be enrolled once. Okay? So, there are instances where somebody enrolled their TIN with the EAFS without their knowledge. When they tried to enroll enrolled in the EAFS, hindi na sila makaproceed with their enrollment kasi may existing account na. So, anong kailangan nilang gawin? Have a printout of the error, bring a copy of their COR, make a request to the RDO where they are registered, request for resetting of their EAFS account. Okay, kasi nga hindi sila makapag-upload. That is actually one of the issues that happened last year. There was nothing wrong with the system last year. Everything was working perfectly. Everything was working as designed, considering that it was the first time that it was required to be used. It was mandated to be used by everyone. However, those who have problems with their EAFS accounts, late silang nag-check ng EAFS account nila, malapit na yung deadline, saka lang sila nag-check ng EAFS nila, may problema pala. So bumuhos ngayon yung mga nagre-request ng resetting ng password, resetting ng username, recovery ng username, resetting ng email address, change ng updating ng records, updating ng RDO, etc. Doon natagalan last year, which is why last year, the last week of the deadline, pinayagan na rin mag-manual stamping. However, like I mentioned earlier, policy direction of our current commissioner is wala nang ganon. Walang dahil may issue yung iba, hindi itutuloy yung online. So online tayo lahat ngayon. Which is why, butin lang, inagahan namin talaga ngayon ang aming webinars. Ngayon pa lang, nagpapa-webinar na kami, a full month and a half before the deadline, 2 months, considering na deadline is 15 days after April 15, so that you have time to check your EAFS account. Tignan kung may issue para makagawa na kayo ng request on how to correct them, how to retrieve them, para by the time na magda-deadline na, 15 days after the deadline or date of actual filing, whichever comes later, ready kayong gamitin ang inyong EAFS account. Now, for authorized representatives din naman, pwedeng ulit-ulitin yan. So kung ikaw ay accountant, ikaw gagawa ng EAFS account ng client mo, pwede mong ulit-uliting ilagay yung TIN mo as your authorized representative, as the authorized representative's TIN. However, when you are making your own enrollment, your own EAFS account, so hindi mo ilalagay sa authorized tax agent yung TIN mo. Now, if you will be making your own enrollment and you will not be engaging the services of an accountant, tax agent, or tax representative, you will just have to encode your taxpayer information into the authorized tax agent's information. Required fields kasi itong mga to, so hindi siya EAFS, punta ka sa login page, mo. But you have no way to edit it within the system itself. So double check, triple check before clicking. So kopyahin mo lang yung details mo, ilagay mo sa baba. You will also be required to enroll your preferred username. The system will notify you kung yung preferred username mo has already been chosen by somebody else, in which case you will, but you have no makakancel yung iyong enrollment. You will have to enroll again. Once you have clicked the activation link, dadaling ka niya sa EAFS login page, EAFS page, and then sabihin niya sa'yo, account activation successful, so pwede mo nang gamitin si EAFS. So paano gamitin si EAFS? Punta ka sa login page, input your username and your password, and click login. In the EAFS homepage, on the left pane, click File Upload. In the EAFS, you can upload five main file types. The ITR. Take note pag sinabi nating ITR na ipapasa sa EAFS, for electronic filers, meaning those who have already filed via the EFPS or eBay forms, ang ipapasa nyo dito is not the ITR, but only the proof of filing, the FRN for EFPS users or the email confirmation for eBay forms users. Hindi nyo na kailangan ipasa yung return kasi final nyo na sa amin yun eh. Ba't nyo pa kailangan isubmit ulit? However, in the case of manual taxpayers, manual filers, such as those who will be using Form 1701MS, you need to submit your 1701MS, the scanned copies of your 1701MS with proof of submission, with proof of filing. Pag sinabing proof of filing, kung walang payment, yung may tatak ng RDO, or kung may tax due, yung merong printout ng bank validation. Okay? Yung ITR mismo ang i-upload ninyo kung hindi kayo electronic filer. But if you're an electronic filer, just upload the scanned copy of the FRN or the email confirmation. For 1701MS, the ITR itself, the 1701MS itself, duly received by the BIR or by the AAB where there is tax due to be paid. Tax credits, 3 for tax credits, and 1 for the others. Now, to use the EAFS, now the audited financial statements, well, pwede namang hindi audited. Basta pang financial statements, yung isang other file type na pwede nyo i-upload sa EAFS, Form 1709 for related party transactions. Others, ito yung mga other attachments, 2304, prior year success credits, original return, if this is an amended return. Yung mga discuss ko kanina, dito nyo ilalagay yun sa others. And then the tax credits, ito yung mga 2307, 2306, 2316, okay? 1606, or such other tax credits that you will be claiming as credits against your tax due. Now, We have provided 7 upload boxes, 1 for the ITR, 1 for the financial statements, 1 for the 1709 and its attachments, 1 for tax credits, 3, sorry. EAFS only accept valid PDF files. Hindi JPEG, hindi PNG, hindi raw Excel file. Dapat PDF lang. Yun lang ang tatanggapin niya na i-upload sa EAFS. Now, if you remember, merong 3 upload boxes for tax credits. So baka inisip ninyo, paano yan? Meron akong 10 2307. Ibig sabihin, 4 na beses ako magpapasa kasi 3 lang kada isang submission. So first 3, 1 submission. Next 3, another submission. Second submission. The last 3, the next 3 again. Third submission. And then may butal na isa, fourth submission. So 4 na beses. No. And even if you include its attachments, transfer pricing documentation, every submission, a maximum of the example natin dito, satisfied, click submit. The statement of under email, fret not, because going back to the home page, below the file upload, in the transaction tab, you click that, nandito rin yung lahat ng pinasa mo. So, kahit wala ng email, makikita mo pa rin yung pinasa mo. Okay? Now, these transactions, you can sort this by upload date. You can search the transaction code or the remarks. So, ito yung discuss natin. And for whatever reason, you want to have a certified true copy of your financial statements. So, ang gagawin mo, punta ka sa login mo, hanapin mo itong transaction na ito. Thank you.
BIR Form 1701 or BIR Form 1701A gamit ang EBIR forms, EFPS or yung yung ating authorized EPSPs. At para sa mga nakapag-file na at nakapagbayad na manually, gamit ang BIR Form 1701MS. Maaaring mabasa ng buo ang RMC sa website ng BIR.